for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a show made by 12s from around the world for 12s from around the world. I'm Mosette, and here's your host, and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, everyone, welcome to episode 909 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, the Steelers edition of the show, as your Seahawks get ready to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So please pull your tray table up, put your seat back in the full upright position, settle down with a desired center beverage of your choice. And what can I tell you? I think we'd all like to give Aaron Donald the finger right now, but we'll talk about that later. So glad to be back. Our 210th episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. And we have a guest that we will talk about in a moment. Obviously, you can see that. You don't have to hear it anymore because we're on Zoom. But first, of course, Matt is here. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good morning, Moses. How are you?
Fine. How are you in merry old England?
I'm really well, thank you. Our 210th episode, did you say?
210, 210.
How is that even possible?
Who thought when you and I put this together?
Thunk it.
9 years. 9 years ago.
Oh, I'd have got less for murder.
I know. It's crazy. Didn't buy a dinner or nothing. Just
nope, nothing.
Nothing.
Nope.
And our special guest tonight, sitting in the guest seat, his Game Buzz comments can be seen everywhere on the internet, and even on his forehead. It's Mike Pascale. Mike, welcome, buddy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's great to have you on. What have you been up to since we last talked?
Thank you. Just losing money in the market and giving money to Uncle Sam.
God bless
and
him.
Working on Buzz. I'm just posting the new one as we speak.
Posting the new Buzz even as we speak.
Yes.
But yes, the Game Buzz author, and I don't know, Mike, how this is not in the Seattle paper. We should make some kind of like run at the Seattle Times to get Game Buzz in on Sundays, at least in the comic session.
That's what I think. I think it'd be a perfect place for it. Even the PI online, that'd be fun.
Oh, somewhere, something. If anybody knows anything out there, get Mike Pascale's. If you've seen the Game Buzz, if you haven't, look on our Facebook page, other Facebook pages. He's all over Facebook on this, and it is absolutely fantastic. Game Buzz, the best comic out there for your Seahawk fix. But before we do the podcast for your 12-Man Fan Jam Show fix, let's talk about how the show is usually broken down. And it's episode 909. I got that right this time, Matt. So, you can't make fun of me. We're still ironing out the kinks, but after 210 shows. Quarter one, we're going to talk about, I'm going to bring you the news, some quick headlines. So we're going to talk a little bit at the end about a certain coach that is no longer with us. And quarter two, we're going to play a name game called Who Said It? Who Said It? Or Who Said That? These two, I'm going to give them a quote from a Seahawk player, coach, or personnel, and they're going to tell me who they think actually said the quote. And then another halftime with another wonderful trivia game, the best Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. I refer to 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
of the world.
Of the world. Matt, you won last week, I believe. Did you not?
Of course.
Of course. He will be challenging Mike one-on-one, mano y mano, hand-to-hand combat. See who wins.
I'm going to let him win. Just upset Dustin and Will.
And such a true, wonderful host to our guest. The second half, we're going to talk about the Steelers game and the Seahawk game. We give you info. We're going to give you injury report. We're going to give you a weather report, a fast report, and a sermon of Seahawk positivity. Wrap all that up. In quarter four, we make our game predictions spelled correctly.
Yeah, you're doing ever so well tonight.
I tell you. See, I'm on fall break. When teachers get off for fall break and we have a little free time, we can slow down and double check ourselves. So our game balls, our predictions, our prognostications for that game between your Seattle Seahawks and those Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night. Before we do all that, please join us on our Facebook page, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We have a great game day thread that we love to do on that on our webpage there, our Facebook page. We also do a lot of other things. So some pretty funny pictures up there and other stuff. YouTube, subscribe to this channel, Seahawk Positive channel. Email us at 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com with any comments or concerns. Do you like the Zoom? Do you not like the Zoom? This is our first year using the Zoom after 8 years of kind of being a radio show. So it's the first time we've done this. And follow us on Twitter, Seahawk Positivity. And now it's time to have our news. Yes, it's the 12-Man Fan Jam News Report brought to you by me. this week. And our sponsor, the Terrible Towel toilet paper, rough, tough, and painful, just like the Steelers are for their own fans to watch. Wipe your butt with the Terrible Towel toilet paper. Ben Roethlisberger underage bathroom stalls sold separately. Moses, what have you got for us? Well, let's look at the news report, shall we? First, Dateline, Cleveland. Now, Myles Garrett, a couple years ago, did a horrible thing. Myles Garrett, if you remember, he's the one who took his helmet off and beat the quarterback of the Steelers on the head with the helmet. I thought, what a terrible guy. What an awful guy. What a horrible person, right? Well, that next year, which was last year, he winds up going for Man of the Year. So you talk about a turnaround. You talk about a guy that said, that's not me. That really wasn't him. And he is quickly becoming one of my personal favorite players because he plays defensive end for the Cleveland Browns. And folks, this is his yard for Halloween this year. And I'm not making this up. He has lined the front of his yard with painted gravestones of numbers of different NFL quarterbacks. I'm not making this up. That's the front of Myles Garrett's home for Halloween. And there's all these gravestones of the quarterbacks he's either faced or going to face. And their names and numbers. Is that not the coolest thing ever?
He's also got the lights set up and everything. I mean,
yes.
He's not messing around.
He's not messing around.
That's great.
This is top of the line trolling.
He became my favorite defensive end just for this. This is fantastic.
Who's the giant skeleton supposed to be, though?
That's a good question. Maybe that's Ben. I don't know. But no, he has actually, I think, leading the league in sacks, or he's near the league in sacks right now, even as we speak. So for him to do this, I thought, wow, that's awesome. So that's awesome.
Considering Brady says he's going to play until he's 50, which probably means he'll play until he's 70. Maybe the skeleton represents Brady. Perhaps
it could be. It could be.
He's dead.
Yes.
It could.
He's not going anywhere.
Or it could also represent the Cleveland Browns playoff chances usually.
Where's Geno Smith on that list, though? I mean, I do feel a little bit aggrieved.
I don't see Geno on there.
I don't see Geno
I
down
don't see
there.
Russell. I don't see Russell on there either.
Well, Russell's not going to be there because he's got bad fingers. He's not going to be.
But
he's out. Yeah, that would be bad taste to troll an injured person. But Geno should be there.
Geno should be. Hats off to Myles Garrett. Hey, look who's in the news again. Colin Kaepernick. Yes, Kaepernick, who hasn't played in the NFL since 2016, 33, spent the last couple of years working with his nonprofit group Know Your Rights Camp. His latest project is a Netflix series focusing on his high school years, which will bring him a new challenge known as acting. The series will air October 29th. He added that waiting on the NFL wasn't going to prevent him from pursuing other opportunities. Kaepernick said he would continue to train for the NFL while acting and producing. I am not one-dimensional. Well, Colin, let me tell you something. As a fan that watched you play for the 49ers for years and put up with years and years of Wilson and Kaepernick comparisons, I love what you stand for. I love you, man. I love your causes. But yeah, you're one-dimensional. Sorry, you are.
Ow.
So,
It is cool. Gives him something to do.
Give him something to do.
Yeah, Juilliard isn't calling.
No. But no, I know what he stands for, but you're one-dimensional. But we'll move on. We'll move on to this. Oh, yes?
I was just saying, I still think it's a shame that he didn't turn up to all the tryouts that he had.
That's
when he had, they were all set up ready to turn up and have a look at him, and he ended up doing it in a different stadium or different field or something. They moved it at the last minute and stuff. I still think that's sad because I still think he should have been back in the league. Really, I think he's got games to play. It's a shame.
I feel like he was one-dimensional, but that's okay. He thinks he's not. One guy's definitely not one-dimensional. It's Aaron Rodgers, and the reason I bring this up is just because I know that Matt has a wonderful theory about Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about in a minute, but Aaron Rodgers apparently gave Joe Burrow some advice after the game last weekend. And his advice is when you take off and run, make sure you slide. He said, you're too damn talented. You've got so much in front of you. Slide, accomplish it in the league. Sometimes you just got to slide. And then he also gave him advice. He also told Burrow that when you get good enough, you can hold an entire NFL franchise hostage in the offseason. So learning from Aaron Rodgers. Matt, you have a theory about Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if you want to share.
I have a theory in Aaron Rodgers. I have many theories about Aaron Rodgers. I think, I agree with everything that Aaron Rodgers, all the advice he's just given there. I mean, the one thing that Aaron Rodgers loves is grown men on their backs on the field. I think it's something that Aaron Rodgers absolutely agrees with, and I think it's quite right that he gives that advice. And actually, having watched the game last week where the quarterback got completely wiped out, he's right though. He does need to learn how to slide really, really quickly. He's going to end up hurt if not. But no, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is all right. I mean, he's changed his hair now. He looks very moody and sort of, he's
Emo.
got that sort of grunge look going on. I don't know.
Mike and I called it emo. So yeah, so I guess what you're saying, you're not surprised that Aaron Rodgers is at quarterbacks to lay down.
He loves watching men lay down and slide around on the field.
All right.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Hey, y'all can dick with that what you will. And finally, we're going to talk about our John Gruden situation. John Gruden's fall from grace has gotten even worse. Of course, he was fired and he was removed from the Ring of Honor in Tampa Bay. But now we've learned that according to EA Sports, his face and likeness will be removed from the game. Madden NFL 22 will not have John Gruden anymore. And yeah, and that's sad. And
is it true they're changing the Chucky dolls?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. It's funny. Last night, the Chucky doll in Chucky movies has been replaced with the G.I. Joe doll with PTSD from his days back in Nam. So there's a change there too. So, but I know.
What's the impressionist going to do? Because there's an impressionist that does a really, really good John Gruden, but he's now technically out of work. He's now out of work.
Caliendo, absolutely.
What the hell is he going to do?
We just saw him, by the way.
Did you?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was hilarious. He did. He did Gruden actually. And he did Madden. He even did a little Bill Cosby, but it was only about to say that he wouldn't be doing it.
That's what I have to do with Gruden. I'm not doing Gruden.
These are all the impressions I won't do.
Exactly.
Real quick, I know Matt wants to talk about this, but along that topic of being kind of, having a joke and not being able to use it, Mystery Science Theater, Will and I love Mystery Science Theater, and they did a live show where they make fun of movies, and they were doing Sharknado 2, and they were doing it live on a Thursday night, and on Tuesday, Jared of Subway got busted for what Jared of Subway got busted. Well, Jared of Subway is in Sharknado 2.
Oh,
so
right.
The part comes up where they show, here he is, he comes up, and the guys all go, well, we had a joke here a couple of days ago, but I think we'll just let it go. And I mean, we all just died laughing. It's like, yep, we'll let that one slide. We'll just act like we didn't have a joke for that part right there and move on. And I mean, we were all just dying. But that's what he had Caliendo has say, I had like 15 minutes on Gruden. I don't know. But on a serious note, I know Matt wanted to share a little bit about Gruden's emails and his comments and some things.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I'm a minority. Okay, so I'm a gay person that loves the game of football, and I think any minority that was remotely shocked or surprised that people like John Gruden exist in the manliest, testosterone-filled locker rooms of America. Anyone who was shocked by that, there wasn't anyone that was shocked by that. All right, nobody, everyone is expecting a Gruden to pop out of the woodwork at some point because we know that they are there. Okay, and they are. And guess what, guys? They're still there. John Gruden is not the only one. All right, so let's not pretend that he's going to be there. There's 650,000 emails or something as part of the Washington team's investigation that they're doing or something. If you're telling me the only person that emailed Bruce Allen, or the only person that's had any emails which the NFL have gone, that's a bit dodgy. Is John Gruden? Then I'd be amazed at 600,000 they found 10. Really. And that doesn't include the players. I mean, we also know that some of the players are. But I think actually this story is far more positive than the news and the running commentators will tell you. Because as a minority, what this says to me is that 12 years ago, 11 years ago, and 10 years ago, an alpha male bully who was feeling threatened by positive change in the game, and that change came in the form of more black people in charge in positions of power rather than just being the 70% of the players, actually head coaches and personnel coaches and all those sorts of things, union speakers, more females breaking through, the Maya Shakas and the Sarah Thomases and those referees that are now on those sidelines doing the job, gay people finally being able to talk about the fact that they are who they are, whilst being part of the game and the sport. All of this was threatening John Gruden. All of it was threatening John Gruden. And John Gruden, the only way a bully can sort of react to that is to use threats, language, and misogynistic, homophobic, and racist language. And this is 12 years ago, which tells me that over 12 years things are changing for the better. The glass ceilings are being broken, and the great thing about glass ceiling is once you've broken it, it can't be then remade. It's kind of broken forever. It's done, and we're able to move on. We are seeing gay players, finally being able to talk about the fact of who they are, as part of the league. That's important. All of this stuff is happening, and there's nothing that John Gruden or the people like him can actually really do about it. Their power is starting to fade. The game is starting to shift and move. I did think that Mike Davis's response was pretty poor, and I think that the NFL are going to have to probably release far more of these emails that maybe they don't want to release them, to be fair. Perhaps they would like some of these to potentially go away. There's a lot of very powerful men in these positions of power who may feel a bit threatened if those emails potentially are released, I reckon. But the NFL, I think, is going to be forced into doing it. The dinosaurs are dying out, people. That's the truth of it. That's what's happening. And I believe strongly in social evolution. I believe that civil rights and all that good stuff, it happens. It happened in the 60s, and everyone's like, well, it should have happened by now. It should have been done by now. No. Human beings live a long time. Social evolution takes a long time. You have to let it bed in, you have to let it grow, and you have to let it take over. Dinosaurs are dying, fossils are falling out of the league. That's great news. And what it means is that now things like the Rooney Rule, for example, we know for a fact that the Raiders ignored it when they appointed John Gruden in the first place. They had no business. They didn't follow the agreed process in terms of minority coaches. We know they didn't do that. So ultimately, fossils are falling out of the league. It makes spaces for new things. And there are a lot of other people within the league now who are sweating. I can almost feel the sweat trickling down the backs of old white men right now, panicking about whether or not tomorrow the NFL or the New York Times is suddenly going to say, oh, by the way, we've got these emails too. And, they're going to be in the same league. Jerry Jones, I don't know. I'm not going to mention names, but, at some point it's going to happen. But any minority surprised? No. What we should be saying, though, is over 12 years, bullies have been threatened. They're falling out of the league. Spaces will be made available now. It can only get better for minorities from here.
Right. Oh, that's wonderfully said. Incredibly well said, Matt. And not surprised to hear you speak so well and so eloquently about a situation like that. And I couldn't agree more. I don't know, Mike, if you even have anything to add to that as well. But
I don't understand, though, how anyone could be in football and be racist. You wouldn't have football without different races. So it really, there's no logic to it.
The player base is 70% black. The player base is 70% black.
Right.
The issue is the genuine issue, though, is that there's just not enough black positions of power opening up. There's not enough people in those serious positions, owners especially. We need more
I would
owners.
like to see that change, but I would also like to see the owners held to the same level of accountability that the coaches and the players are.
Absolutely.
Why should they be immune just because they make 8-9 figures or whatever?
Right. Sure.
Absolutely.
We're all the same.
I agree.
So,
I totally agree.
Well said, Matt.
But the main thing with what we've got to remember about bullies, like John Gruden, is that if they're comfortable, they're not racist. When they're comfortable, they're not homophobic. When they're comfortable and in control, they're not misogynistic.
Yeah.
They're not. They're just the normal guys that you see and you have drinks with, and it's all great.
Yeah.
As soon as they feel their power that they think that they deserve and own start to move, shift, or slip, and people are no longer listening to them and actually doing what they want, that's when the language starts to change. That's when the threats, because they've got nothing else left, so they resort to the most basest language they possibly can. So the fact that they're threatened at the moment, that's a great thing, and hopefully they stay threatened, because ultimately that will mean that they'll have to force them out of the league. I will say, however, and I know this may sound a bit strange, but I also hope that actually this isn't the end for John Gruden in terms of the NFL or anything else, because I'm also a huge believer that we have to accept that people can grow, evolve, and change and reform.
Yes.
If we don't believe that in human beings, then we've got a bigger problem. And I know that lots of my friends in minorities won't agree with me when I say this, because they were like, well, he should be ostracized, cast in concrete and dumped in the Pacific Ocean as far as they're concerned. But as far as I'm concerned, we have to believe that human beings can grow, can learn, can change, can repent, can find a new way. And I know this for a fact because I've met people in my own job who, you know, have previously been on the very far right, for example, of politics in the UK, and have, you know, gone from what's almost on the verge of almost terrorism side of stuff and come back to being normal people. You have to believe that there's good in people, and you have to
Absolutely.
believe that people can evolve. So I actually hope at some point, and it won't, but he's got to play penance. He's got to have that. He's got to have his punishment now, and that punishment doesn't involve getting
Yes.
$60 million left of his contract. That doesn't happen.
Right.
It shouldn't happen, but it might. But he's got to have his penance, and that could be 5, 10, 15, even 20 years. You know, and I know he's not a young man, but that whatever that punishment is, he'll know how long it's going to be. But at some point, you know, if he was to come back and talk about it on a one-to-one documentary, if he was to give a fulsome, wholesome, genuine apology, as opposed to the "I didn't mean to hurt anyone" bollocks, which is nonsense. If he was to do all of that, then I think actually he could still come back and be part of the NFL. We can't lock people out forever because of their views and opinions. They have to.
Well,
evolve,
especially
allowed
in
to
this
change.
country, we're very, very forgiving when people are
Good.
genuinely sorry.
Good.
It's a teachable moment.
And we should all be, because everybody, it makes mistakes. And yes, racism, misogynistic and homophobic views is a big mistake, don't get me wrong, but ultimately, if we don't believe people have any good in them, if we don't believe that they can grow and change, then there's an awful lot of people that are going to retain the views that they have and hold, not get the education they really need and deserve to understand why it's wrong, and they're just going to grow in number. And that makes a terrible ending for that story to me.
Good point.
I think that's wonderful. I will share a story before we go to break. It's not Seahawk related, but being a big Cincinnati Reds fan, Tom Brenneman, who was a legendary announcer for the Cincinnati Reds, Rounders, Matt, baseball for us. Anyway, his son was now doing the Reds games, and he was doing the TV games. He didn't know he was on mic, and he referred to, I believe it was Milwaukee, as fag capital of the country or the world, and immediately realized.
Just make a note of that.
Yeah, well, he was immediately realized he wasn't being muted, and basically, you know, apologized and walked off the set. Now, here's where the story gets interesting, because when the community leaders in that particular field in Cincinnati were asked about this, what they said was, "Don't fire him. Let's use him as a teachable moment. Let's train him. Let's bring him in. Let's do commercials with him. Let's teach him." Like you said, it's a teachable moment. And they wouldn't do that. But I thought, wow, here's an opportunity, like you said. And this guy was immediately remorseful, and he apologized up and down for the next 3 days. And, you know, of course, Fox said, "No, you're done. You're out." Fox Sports said, "You're out." He did, you know, he did football games, he did baseball games, and what he said was absolutely deplorable. But the community, the leaders of that community, Cincinnati, said, "No, we want him to be held accountable. We want him to learn from his mistake. We want to see if it's a teachable moment for him."
Sure.
And that's kind of what you're saying, Matt. Let's make this a teachable moment. Can John Gruden change? Yeah, we all can. Let's give him a chance to do so.
But everyone has to have their punishment. This is the important thing.
Yeah.
Human beings, we still expect a little bit of pain for stupid or bad behavior. So because of his stupid or bad behavior, you don't get the instant forgiveness, I'm afraid. There has to be some pain. So it's not going to be straight away. But the moment I remember the incident you were talking about, actually, I've actually seen some literature on that previously. You know, at the end of the day, if somebody is immediately remorseful for what they know they've said the bad word, they know they've used, you know, a word that they wouldn't normally, or for whatever reason, they used an incorrect term. And sometimes people can fall into that trap without even knowing that they're saying a bad word, because they're just not educated about how minorities view themselves and the words they use.
Yes.
So I appreciate that happens. You know, that immediate remorsefulness, again, there still has to be some punishment. So maybe he should have lost his job.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if the group, even the community themselves, should have reached out to him and said, "Look, we're not going to throw you in the bin. Come with us. Come over here. We want to talk. We want to work with you. We want to use you as a tool in the communities to talk to other people who may have those views. And maybe we can work out a way that you can come back to some form of your role that you currently had." But, you know, I would just say again, we cannot go through life expecting people to be perfect. That isn't going to happen. People are going to fail. They're going to fall. You know, even, I mean, how many letters are there in the new LGBTQ plus 2A star triple, I don't know, word score? It's
There are
like a
so many
Scrabble.
now. Yeah.
My own community is like a Scrabble game, and I can't even get the letters right. So ultimately, how can I expect others to do so? So if you slipped up tonight, Dennis, if you said something tonight, should that mean that you are, placed in a silo somewhere, buried in a desert, and left for 6 years? No, of course not. We as a people, as a human race, have to understand that we have a responsibility towards those who fail to try and help them succeed, not just dump
Correct.
them and say, you're done with, you're no
Mhm.
longer a human being, you're just a piece of crap and we can ignore it. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of minorities who are very angry with what John Gruden said. And I have to say, when I saw the part, especially about Michael Sam, even I was like,
Yeah.
that's harsh. That's something that's going to be difficult. But ultimately, again, you still have to see the good in people. If you can't see the good in people and everyone's bad if they don't agree with you, that's a really dark place if we end there.
I agree. Very deep way to end the first quarter, but I think at this point we will indeed end the first quarter.
That's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
This week, the Seahawk Positivity Channel and the 12-Man Fan Jam Show posse was rocked by news that Dustin, a longtime posse member, has lost his grandmother earlier in the week. All of our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go to Dustin and his family in this time. We'll be right back.
I'm Mosette, and this is the 12-Man Fan Gym Show. Dad, I want you to meet my new boyfriend, Sam.
Is he one of us?
A Seahawk fan? Yeah, Dad, of course.
Yes, sir. I'm a great Seahawks fan. Cam Newton's my favorite player. Okay, get out. That's it. Get
Dad,
out.
no.
Get out. No.
No,
Kid,
about
no.
football,
Get
Dad.
out. No, man. No.
What are you doing?
No.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Hey, welcome to the second quarter of 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Venting the steel curtain one jab at a time. All right, it is second quarter, and usually we talk about last week's game. We already talked about last week's game. It was a week and a half ago, so we're going to play a game here with Matt and Mike, and it's a new game on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, and it's called Who Said That? Who Said That? Here's how it's going to work, guys. I'm going to give you a quote over here to your side of your screen, and there'll be an A or a B of who actually said that. And then you have little cards with A's and B's up, and you will pick, and then I will say reveal, and you will reveal your answer, and whoever gets it right gets a point. All right?
Cool.
Easy.
All right.
Simple. It's how we make a cake. Here we go. Are you ready? Your first question.
Mike, it's not going to be simple. He's going to pick quotes that, the most obscure bloody quotes on the planet.
Of course. Yeah.
Which college professor said?
Who said, all right, number one, who said that? You rest better coming off of a win. Who said you rest better coming off of a win? Is it Richard Sherman or Russell Wilson? Who said you rest better coming off of a win? Richard Sherman or Russell Wilson?
Okay,
Matt,
do I hold it up now?
Not yet. Do you have your answer, Mike?
I sure do.
Matt, do you have your answer?
I do.
All right, reveal your answers. You both said Richard Sherman.
Yep.
You're both right. It's Richard Sherman. He's got a point.
Sounded
It's
like something
1-1.
he would say. Sounded like
It does,
something he would
doesn't
say. If it had been the other way around, that I rest better after a lose or something, I'd have probably gone for Russ. I don't know why. He sort of feels more like that to me.
Yes.
Mike, you
Yeah,
thought
I think-
Richard all the way?
Yeah, I think he kind of jinxed himself. Did you see at last week's
Yes.
game? He said, "We welcome adversity. You learn more when you're through adversity."
Out my leg.
Oh,
All right, here we go.
All about
Second one.
conditioning. It's all about conditioning.
Are we ready for number two?
Yes.
I can't ask the offense to score slower. I can't ask the offense to score slower. Is that Mike Holmgren or Pete Carroll? Who
Ready.
said I can't ask the offense to score slower? Are you both ready?
yeah.
Reveal. You both said Mike Holmgren. It was Pete Carroll.
Really?
Carroll said that.
Really?
Pete Carroll said I can't
was
ask.
When did he say that?
I don't know. It was a quote I found. I found a thing of quotes. Pete Carroll said, I know. I was so shocked myself. That sounds totally like something Mike Holmgren would say.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll
That's
said,
great.
I can't ask the offense to
A
score
little
slower.
saucy Pete.
So
No
I
saucy
would have,
Pete.
again, if I'd have flipped that round, I can ask our offense to score quicker. That would have been Pete Carroll. That
No,
means
that'd
it's
be
Pete
Carroll,
Carroll
yeah.
all over.
Yeah.
But that to me was Mike Holmgren.
I
through and through,
know.
that
Me
quote.
too. I feel the same way. 1-1. 1-1. Here we
I'm
go.
gonna have to search that in Google later.
Yeah, here we go. Who said this about Pete Carroll? I'd say he's like playing for Willy Wonka. He's crazy. Wiki Wonka. I say he's like playing for Willy Wonka. He's crazy. He wants to be young. Is that Michael Bennett or Richard Sherman that said he was like playing for Willy Wonka? Who said he's like playing for Willy Wonka? He's crazy. He wants to be young.
I'm ready.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Reveal. Oh, you both said Michael Bennett. Oh my gosh, you're right. Michael Bennett said that.
Yeah.
I
Richard
think I
Sherman.
remember him saying that.
Man.
I could actually hear him saying it in my head. I'm
Yeah.
sort of saying,
Yeah.
if I'm in the press conference, that sort of thing he would say. That was that sort of thing that he would say.
All right.
Whilst riding around on a bike or something.
Yeah, right. I was just something about the bike, but I knew you get that. All right, here's your next one. It doesn't matter what you know if you can't teach it. Pete Carroll and Mike Comer. It doesn't matter what you know if you can't teach it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a trick question, but okay.
What are you going to do both?
Doesn't matter what you know if you can't teach it. Reveal. You both said Mike Holmgren. Yeah, that Mike was
He's
a
all
teacher.
about teachable moments.
Well, because he's a teacher. He was a social studies teacher. So there you go.
Yeah.
That was kind of easy one, I think. But I don't know how many more we got left. We got a couple more left here, I think.
We're going to need a tiebreaker.
I'm loving the fact you're finding it. Where are you finding these? I'm going to have to go and do a massive trawl of the internet to find this kind of stuff.
We live in a world that needs entertainment, and entertainment has to be provided by men who sweat and bleed.
Oh, that's good.
Ready?
We live in a world that needs entertainment, and that entertainment
You know,
has
that reminds
to be
me of,
provided.
before we show it, do you know that line in A Few Good Men? We live in a world where men need to stand on walls. You know that whole spiel that he goes into about defending freedom.
That's where they got it from. Who knows? We live in a world that needs entertainment, and that entertainment has to be provided by men who sweat and bleed. Are you ready?
Yes.
And
Reveal.
handle the press coverage.
Reveal. Did you both put B?
Yeah.
It's Pete Carroll.
No.
Yes.
Is this the
Yes.
same Pete Carroll?
Pete Carroll said that we live in a world that needs entertainment, and that
Doesn't
entertainment.
sound like him at
He
all.
was a
I
US.
know.
Is that a USC quote when he's young?
Are you not amused?
Very amusing.
You can't handle the rush. I mean, we could do
Still what? 2-2? I think it is 2-2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I think this is the last one. I'm pretty sure. On Walter Thurman's game day attire, one of these guys said he did look like the Monopoly man. I thought he was going to pull a monocle out. That would have been awesome. Was that Cam Chancellor or Richard Sherman? He did look like the Monopoly man. I thought he was going to pull a monocle out. That would have been awesome. Was it Cam Chancellor or Richard Sherman?
Yeah, really.
This is the last one.
I
It's
think
tied.
I'm wrong. I think this is where Mike steals.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Reveal. Oh, a B and an A.
This is it.
Oh, this is it for the win. It was Richard Sherman.
I knew it. I knew it.
Matt wins.
I kept thinking, because I have to be honest, I wasn't really sure, because I always think that Cam Chancellor, although he's a massive hitter, was a really quiet individual and never really said very much in that sense.
But he has
Richard
a great sense of humor.
But he's great, but yeah, great sense of humor. But he never
does,
really said very much. But I thought Richard Sherman, that's the gobbiest sort of thing he'd come out with.
I almost put Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett because that's something Michael would have said too. And I thought,
that would have thrown me. That would have thrown me.
But I think I can see Cam when I did this. I thought I can see Cam saying that too.
Oh, I love that.
So,
I have to go and find all these quotes. I love this sort of
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
I
So
don't feel bad then.
that was who said that. So congratulations, man, on winning that game. But we all know what's coming up next.
Oh gosh.
Coming up next is the real halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime!
All right, we've made it through the first half of this show, and now it's time to start thinking about the Steelers and the Seahawks. And that starts halftime with the greatest Seahawk themed trivia game on the internet. 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
Of the world.
of the world, and that's coming up next.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Yes, welcome to another fine edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
the heavy metal version.
God!
Woo!
God!
Rock on, baby! Oh.
Rock on.
Trivia show that challenges your ears and the minds of the people watching the show and the posse themselves. The contestants to the posse, Matt and Mike, mano y mano, one-on-one, and here are the rules. Gentlemen, You have 3 questions apiece, a point per question. 1 question you could ask what the kids said. And after that, we'll have a special top secret final question. So, are you ready? I guess
Ready.
we'll go with Mike Pascale. Mike, I have to ask you a very important question here. Mike, are you even or are you odd?
Oh, I'm very odd.
Mike is odd. So, Mike, you will do the odd questions, and Matt will do the even questions. Now, there
Ready
are
to get even.
2 questions about the Steelers and the Seahawks, and then there's one that's just kind of a little related, but not really. Here we go.
Nothing about Pittsburgh then, huh?
Yeah,
Good.
those odd ones are. Your first one, odd man Mike. Yeah, Statsman Mark, odd man Mike.
Rude.
That fits. Is this the first time the Seahawks played the Steelers was in 1977? How many touchdown passes did Terry Bradshaw throw in that game? Terry Bradshaw, 1, 2, or 3 touchdown passes in 77 against the Seahawks. Dance!
That was back when he could actually string a sentence together.
Yeah, he didn't have to, just threw the ball. But yeah.
I would think we weren't very good back then, and they were. So I'm going to go with 3.
This is a Super Bowl year for the Steelers, by the way. Yes, 4 and 6 years, and this was part of that. So yeah, you said 3.
Yeah.
Well, you know that's interesting because Little Mo said 3, and it's also interesting because Mosette said 3, and you
All
said
right.
3. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. Except when it's wrong and it's 1.
Oh,
But,
1.
Yeah, just
That's
1.
it?
They did well. You know, they weren't big passers back then, and
That's
they
true.
didn't really need it. All right.
Do you know? So the thing is, whenever you say Terry Bradshaw, I always think of Sex and the City because of Carrie Bradshaw.
Oh, Terry, yeah.
Straight away, I just think, oh, Sex.
You
and the
know
City.
what? I never think of sex when I think of Terry Bradshaw. So that's far away from sex
Probably a
as I
good
think.
thing.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. Even Carrie, she's a little bit of a.
Yeah.
Kelly Endo said that when he was on Fox, he said half the time he couldn't tell what he was actually saying.
I believe it.
And nobody knew if he was playing dumb or being dumb. He would
That's
ask
bad.
these
That's a
questions.
sign of a
and-
good actor.
Is this
Yeah,
a
they
joke?
could-
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, they
Colin
were
Kaepernick could learn.
Because he's one-dimensional. He's not one-dimensional. Yeah.
It's
That's
not. It's
right.
multi-dimensional.
I actually love this because Matt, this is your non-football question, and it's
Oh,
actually,
shit.
and not only that, it's
It's a college
this.
question.
No. The first World Series nighttime baseball
Oh.
game
Good night, everyone.
was played in Pittsburgh in 1971. Who did the Pittsburgh Pirates play in that game? Did they play the Orioles, the Red Sox, or the Yankees? The first nighttime baseball game for Matt
now,
from England.
This is another one of them situations. So the Oreos to me, that's a chocolate biscuit, right?
You're a bird.
So one of your teams is named after a chocolate biscuit. The other one's named after some footwear, and the other one is some sort of old slur that the British used to use against Americans.
Pretty much right across the board.
Oh, I don't have a clue. I could pick any of them, and it could all be the same. Let's go for. I'll go for the socks.
Go for the Sox. Might as well go for the Sox.
It's too early in the morning for chocolate biscuits, and I'm not going to use a slur.
Mosette said Orioles. Little Mo said Yankees. You said Sox. And you know that always works for you. Always.
I didn't ask
Except for
him.
now.
I didn't ask him.
Yeah. It was the Orioles. It was
the
the
Orioles.
the Birds.
Too early
not
for
the-
chocolate
yeah.
biscuits.
71. That would have been Roberto Clemente, Mike, I think. In 71, right?
Don't ask me.
All right. Well, I just did. Question 3. Here we go. I know Matt doesn't know. Hell.
Don't ask me.
Your question is this, Mike. When the Seahawks played the Steelers in 92, how many passes did Stan Gelbaugh? You know, anytime I can use Stan Gelbaugh in a question, I'm going to. Stan
All those
Gelbaugh.
Stan Gelbaugh
Stan
fans out
Gelbaugh.
there.
How many Stan Gelbaugh touchdowns for the Seahawks in 92? 1, 2, or 3? Stan Gelbaugh.
All right, I'm tempted to say 1 because that would be easy, but I'm going to go with 2, and I'm going to give him more credit than he deserves.
Wow, you believe in the power of Stan Gelbaugh, do you?
I believe.
Mosette said 2, Little Mo said 1, you said 2.
I should be-
Oh my gosh, you believe in the
Hey.
power of Stan Gelbaugh, and you're on the board.
Good old Stan.
Good old Stan. Good old
We call him
Stan.
good old Stan. Remember good old Stan? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
was actually head of the Michigan chapter of the Stan Gelbaugh fan club back then.
You were the president, vice president, and secretary. Oh my God. All right. Question 4, Matt. When the Seahawks played the Steelers in '99, how many turnovers did the Steelers have in that game? 3, 4, or 5? How many turnovers did the Steelers in 1999 against the Seahawks?
No idea. I
right.
suppose what I ought to do is ask the kids.
Okay. Little Mo and Mosette both said 5.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of turnovers.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Well, do you know what? Since I didn't win when I didn't pick what they said, I'm going to do the other way around. So let's go 5. Let's flip it around because maybe the history's changed. Perhaps the North Poles have switched around because they didn't work last time, did it?
Going different, are you?
All right.
You know me. Try differently.
Yeah, you got it.
Oh,
Have I got? Is this a new rule? Have I got to now make a new thing whereby I've got to go with what the kids have said? Because that's going to play with my feng shui totally.
That would be odd.
Yes.
You can't do that.
no.
I'll have to rearrange the room.
Not this late.
Well,
No,
Matt, you said people can learn.
But yes,
Teachable
what?
moment.
It's so right. That's a teachable moment.
That's
Apart
teachable
from his
moment.
kids. I mean,
These are teachable moments.
apart
Mike,
from any kid ever taught by Dennis.
exactly.
Because he's always on break.
Yeah.
That's right.
Here's something I heard in a classroom. I want to share this with you real quick.
Go on, then. Go on.
Something I heard from a teacher in the classroom that I absolutely love. She said to a kid, "Am I pronouncing your name right? Because I have a feeling I'm going to be saying it all year long." I love that line. I had to leave the room. I was laughing so hard.
That's great.
Oh, isn't that great line? Okay.
Me too.
Sorry, but I digress. So if you are teachable, Mike, you know that after having 2 questions about the Seahawks and the Steelers, that it is your Pittsburgh question time.
Oh yeah.
And that is this: what famous NFL quarterback was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? Is it Drew Brees, Jim Kelly, or Joe Montana? Who was born? Dan Marino was born in Pittsburgh, by the way. But who else? Drew
All
Brees,
right,
Jim
I'll
Kelly,
ask
or
the
Joe
kids,
Montana?
even though I think I know who it is.
Little Mo said Jim Kelly, and Mosette said Joe Montana. Nobody said Drew Brees.
Shoot. Well, if I remember my, what is that show that the NFL on the NFL Network that has the histories of the players?
Cinemax After Dark? No, that's not it. No, sorry. I digress.
Anyway, I saw the one on Joe Montana, and I think it's him. I'm going to say
You think it's Joe Montana?
Montana was born in
You know-
Pittsburgh because I remember I used to love him, and it knocked him down a couple notches after I heard that.
Wow. You loved him, but you weren't in love with him.
Correct.
That's what I'm hearing. Well, there's a city in Montana that changed their name to Joe. Did you know that? That's true.
No,
Like they changed their name to Joe. Yeah, you can
That's
live in
awesome.
Joe, Montana.
I
Yeah.
live in Joe Montana.
But you
Wow.
think Joe Montana was born in Pittsburgh? I digress a little bit here because, it's Jim Kelly. Jim
Oh,
Kelly was born in Pittsburgh, and so was Dan Marino. Drew Brees, I think, is from Texas. I'm not sure where Montana. I think I don't know where he's from.
Can I say, at the Reverend Moses, can I say, had I got that question, I would definitely have gotten it right, because I'm not suggesting that I'm doing any show prep, of course, but it may have appeared in a weather forecast sometime later in the show.
That's the second time in a row that's happened.
But not precisely like that, because he was one of the names that I saw when I was getting the celebrities that I've used in the weather forecast, but I knew
Wow.
damn well who it was.
There it is.
we're going to have to change that. That's twice. a year.
Yeah. So we're at 1-1. That's too bad. Anyway,
Too bad.
that's too bad for you. You didn't get that question, but you get this question.
Oh shit.
When the Seahawks played the Steelers in Pittsburgh in 1991, how many turnovers did the Steelers have in that game? 3, 4, or 5?
3.
3.
Just 3.
Little Mo said 4.
Oh, I should have gone with that.
Mosette said 5.
Oh,
Oh, perfect.
I've gone wrong.
You said
I've
3.
gone wrong.
It's 3.
Ah, I knew it.
It's 3. So now, final question, worth 2 points, and will result in the champion of this episode's 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. It's a number close without going over gets the 2 points. If you're both over, whoever's closest to the number gets the 2 points. And the order will go: Mike will go first, Matt will go second. And our final question, gentlemen, is about Super Bowl XL, of course. Super Bowl 40.
Oh, okay.
Here's what I want to know.
Flags.
How many yards of offense did the Seahawks have in that game? Total yards of offense for the Seahawks Super Bowl XL. And we will start with Mike. Mike.
Boy, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
No,
All right.
No,
All right. Then nobody wins. No, wait. No.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. Well, it doesn't. Well, no matter what I say, Mr. Price is right over here. Is gonna.
Well, unless you go, if you go over, then you win, right? I mean,
If you go over.
No, if I go over, I automatically lose.
no.
No.
If you go over and he goes one on top of you,
Oh,
then
yeah.
you win. See, so
Yeah, but
it's
he's
still.
not
Wow.
Okay. I'm gonna go with 305.
305. Matt.
But I hate to be that guy.
You're gonna be that guy.
But I'm gonna go 306.
Matt's gonna go 306. So if it's
307.
So if it's 304,
Mike wins.
then Mike wins. But the
Anything
actual-
anything below
Yeah.
me, Mike would win.
But the actual number of yards that they had was 396. So yeah,
I was
it's-
doomed.
Table. You laid the table well there, though.
All right. Yeah.
the gummy bears are in town.
Now I would have been lower because I would have actually probably gone lower than you originally. If I'd have gone first, I'd have probably gone low.
Oh,
You probably would have beaten me.
that's why we
I
need,
would've gone- I
we need
would've gone
3
as high as
people for this. It's much better.
There's your gummy bears, Matt. Congratulations, Matt, on winning another fun-filled, heart-stopping, award-winning, weather loud 12-man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia of the world. We'll be back right after this. We're going to give you all the information you need. If Matt shows up, Matt's disappeared. He's gone off to celebrate. But we'll be back with the second half, and hopefully Matt will be right after this. Maybe not. Who knows?
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
It's the third quarter, bitches.
Hey, welcome to the third quarter of 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you. Yes, you right there. You impatiently waiting for Sunday night for football to come back for Seattle. Like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Channel. Go to
Turtle.
Facebook, 12-Man Fan Jam Show first page. We got a great day friend we're having on there all the time.
Hobo.
I'm going with it. Don't care. We're going. It's live. Do it now before they make the game Monday Night Football. And I don't care watch Monday night because I go to watch construction porn. All right. Hey, it's time to get you ready for the Sunday Night Football game between the Seahawks and the Steelers. Finally, the game is at 8:20 on Sunday night. Matt, what is that in England?
1:20 in the morning. I won't be
1:20 in the morning. You will not be there. The game day.
Will not be
But koalas will be prepared by me. 5:20 if you're out in the West Coast, right, Mike?
Yes.
Of course.
That's
Okay.
why God invented DVRs.
Exactly. So let's see how healthy these teams are by turning to, well, I guess me with the 12-Man Fan Jam Show injury report. Thank you, Dennis. So injury reports like this. Of course, Russell Wilson was placed on IR officially. He wasn't at first because he was still going to practices. I guess they decided that he couldn't do that or whatever. They did recently put Chris Carson on IR.
Yeah.
But Penny is set to come off next week from IR, and they expect him to play,
Okay.
or as we like to call him around here, Pro Size Junior.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman Cedric Obwehi. I just like to say his name, even as he was on the injury report. Cedric Obwehi, and I would love to see Dustin pronounce that, but he's not here. Dustin would be like Cedric Obuahai. Anyway,
Smith.
Cedric Obwehi is out with a bicep, and so it's sad for him. However, and speaking of an on-injury issue, it was interesting that Trey Brown, who just came off the injury list, who was a rookie defensive back for us, was practicing in Jones's spot for a while at practice. They said he may eventually take Jones's spot, or he may kind of share with Jones this week, Sunday night, something to look at. Trey Brown may make his first appearance for the Seahawks at defensive back. So that's something interesting. For the Steelers, Juju has bad juju. Juju Schuster has his shoulder apparently injured and is on IR, supposedly out for the year, which is good for us. You guys remember Akilo Witherspoon? He was on our team beginning of the year.
That's Reese's brother, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Reese's brother. Yeah, Reese's Witherspoon brother. He didn't play as a practice this week because of coach's decision for the Steelers. I'm not sure what that means.
He pissed somebody off.
Yeah, but what's interesting is Schuster and Chase Claypool, who are their big 1-2 receivers. Schuster's out and Claypool has a hamstring injury, so he's limited. So he will not be 100%. He may not play. I don't think he's kind of day to day, aren't we all? And their third receiver, James Washington, is also limited because apparently he has a groin injury. Pulled it right off, which is my Harry Carey. Mike, you know Harry Carey.
Yeah, you were gonna tell.
Yeah.
Holy cow! He pulled his groin right off. Holy cow! James Washington with a pulled groin. Okay,
but it wasn't his own.
No, it wasn't.
He pulled a groin.
Oh
muscle.
Lord! But the groin wasn't his own. Holy cow! Carlos Davis is a defensive tackle who has been limited in practice with a knee injury, and Cameron Haywood, also defensive tackle, limited with a neck injury. Pulled his neck right off. So that's your injury report. Dustin, I apologize in advance. That's your injury report. And now, of course, we turn to what the weather's going to be for this fair game by turning to a guy living in England, of course. I refer to the weather, 12 Man Fantasy Show weather and fashion report with none other than Maddie from Maryland, England. Maddie!
Yes.
Oh, Matt.
Oh, man.
Line!
Yes. Thank you, Moses. The weather for this game is sponsored by Heinz Field in the delightful city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But it doesn't mean that there will be 57 varieties of weather. In fact, by the looks of it, dullest weather report since my last one, which was in Minnesota, and that was the bloody dome, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's a night game. It's going to be clear skies, cool temperatures of around 57 degrees Fahrenheit, still a 57. Which, as listeners, regular listeners, well, the regular listener will know, used to be known as Trumps. But I guess now for political balance, we should call them Bidens. And much like their namesake, everyone's forgotten what they actually stand for.
Whoa!
So let's move swiftly on.
Please.
To what to wear for this game. Where we're in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Steel City of Pittsburgh, city of bridges as well, isn't it? All sorts of things. A city that's produced some fine celebrities and quarterbacks who you can take fashion inspiration from. For example, just like our own fine art guru on tonight's show, Mr. Mike Pascale, Pittsburgh have their own. Andy Warhol.
Oh, yeah.
Famous for his pop art look. So just cover yourself in neon paint, trying to wear some sort of 60s glasses or whatever, and you should be fine for that, and you should be able to just throw on a jersey, you'll be fine. Or why not don a nice suit, a hat, a cane, pop on your dancing shoes, and imitate another Pittsburgh native, Gene Kelly.
Oh,
as you walk down towards the tailgate, remember to sort of swing around those lampposts singing, we're gonna win this game. We're gonna win this game. What a glorious feeling. We're winning again.
Oh.
All of that can go on. It's great. Or if you really, really want to honor one of Pittsburgh's most beloved, most celebrated, almost wholly adopted sons, go dressed as 2006 NFL Super Bowl referee Bill Levy. Yes, a white hat and a zebra jersey. And for extra authenticity, why not take along a whole bag of yellow flags and just throw them randomly without seemingly knowing the rules at all? And remember to declare a touchdown for Big Ben at the 20-yard line, at least 20 yards away from the touchdown end zone. Make sure you do that, otherwise you're not doing it right. Just do a Hawks jersey all over that and you're good to go. With all that being said, it looks like it's going to be perfect Seahawks weather. So Moses, it's back over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt, for that wonderful weather and fashion report.
Very nice.
And now, please be upstanding and welcome our own Reverend Moses from the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity for his sermon for this upcoming game. Oh, Reverend.
Yes. It is I, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church of Seahawk Positivity. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good, thank you, Reverend.
Very well.
Very well, Mike. It is so good to see you, my friend. I missed you. I have missed you so much. It's so glad to see you back in
Same here.
the fold. Yes, back in the flock, as we like to say around the church.
Back of the flock.
Back in the flock. Yes, they're dead flocking around. We're gonna
You
come
got
back to
flocked.
this. Yes, but you're flocking back, and we love it. We know, the last couple of weeks have been quite turbulent in Seahawks world, hasn't it? It's kind of like 2020 lived out as a football team in a couple of days. It really is.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Donald placed himself in just the right place for Russell Wilson to slam that finger against him on a follow through. And that little bastard, don't worry though. I'll tell you, Donald will get his. I mean, he's on the Rams. We all know that they're good, but that mediocrity is just around the corner. It's part of their DNA. We know that.
Testify.
Friends, let's get some church up in here. I am so glad to be once again here as we return back to the road to the promised land. And even in the face of diversity and struggle, we rise up loud and proud in the name and the power of Seahawk Positivity. Read from the book of the 2021 NFL season, chapter 6, verses 3 to 12. They did then return upon the road. They were without their field commander, but his place stood the one with 7 on his back, and he did lead them into battle against those of steel. They met in the land of 3 rivers, and there was much doubt. But we did rise up proud and tall. And under number 7, in the light of power, Seahawk Positivity, they rose up, and in the field of hinds, they did tremble, and they did fall in defeat. And there was much rejoicing. My friends, this is the power of the word, my brethren, of Seahawk Positivity. Do you feel the power? Do you feel the power of Seahawk Positivity? If you feel the power, let me hear you say, I'm in.
Amen.
Yes. If you believe in the power to give our offense the ability to score on the Seahawks so much, then on the Steelers, not Seahawks. We're not scoring the Seahawks. Give our offense the ability to score on the Steelers so much that the fans burn their terrible towels in anger. Let's hear it. Amen. Nice and loud.
Amen.
If you believe in the power to give our defense the ability to make Big Ben lose all track of time. That's a joke for my friend in England over there. Let's hear it. I'm in, nice and loud.
Amen.
Yes. Feel the power. We are loud and proud, my 12s. Oh, our voices, our presence, always felt. It doesn't matter who's behind center. Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Stan Gilbaugh, Dan McGuire. We still loud and proud. The Steelers, more like the rusty old Steelers. They're an old team. They haven't been relevant since the Bears sent Woody and Buzz into the fire pit in the trash compactor. Remember Toy Story 3? That's Toy Story 3. Yeah, look that one up. That's the last time the Steelers were relevant. Friends, and Big Ben, the only time that guy tells us when it's time to go to the bathroom and try to find some underage girls. But I'm digressing right now. We're moving away from that. I went there. I shouldn't have. Forgive me. But anyway, this has been your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Allen Church Seahawk Positivity. Praise Cortez. Praise Walter Jones. Praise the script I'm trying to read that I can't read because it's just, I can't handle it. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It doesn't matter. But praise the power of Seahawk Positivity. That is the end of the 3rd quarter. We'll be back with predictions, prognostications, and game balls between your game, between the Seahawks and the Steelers. And we'll be right back after this. And I burn this script right here.
Woo!
Oh, yeah. Oh, Lord.
That was great.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, a Seahawk Positivity production.
Holy shit, it's the 4th quarter.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the 4th and final quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, where we're going to make our predictions, our prognostications, and our game balls for that game between your Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sunday night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:20 on the West Coast, and 1:20 in the morning if you're in England like Matt.
Sleepy night time.
Sleepy. Seahawks are 5.5-point underdogs. The over-under is at 42.5. So let's see how our picks went. First for Team 12. Jose said Seahawks win 23-20. Prognostication, Seahawks get 2 sacks. Game ball to Taylor.
Nice.
Mike said, Mike Pascale, I will read yours. I was going to pick the Steelers to go win some points, but if I'm on the show, I'd look like a fickle jerk. So he went Seahawks 19, Sleezers 17. Game ball to Adams. He finally gets his beast on prediction. Mutual sacks, at least one for each team. Bonus, Roethlisberger gets drunk after the game and makes a pass at a cheerleader. So we'll be looking for that.
Nice.
Mark, Ty, Turner. I knew the day would come when Russ would get injured. All great quarterbacks get hurt with the exception of Favre. I thought Aaron Donald would be the one. Just didn't expect it that way. But that's our reality, along with having a really crappy defense. Steelers are in a bind as well, so this will be a tight game. Hawks win 28-27. Game ball to Wagner again, who always gets it out. Alex Collins rushed for 2 touchdowns. That's a really good pick. Ooh. Carey, Lottie. What a time to be alive. All I needed was for fall of 2021 to come in, sit down, shut up, and get right. But apparently that's not to be. It's okay, though. I have faith and kneel at the Church of Seahawks Positivity's altar, seeking absolution for my feckless thoughts on the Seahawks 2021 season. My faith is restored, and I believe it will bear fruit. Fruit of the low-hanging kind, yes, with a measly 2017 win over the Steelers, but fruit nonetheless. Road trips have been kind to us in recent years, and I think it'll be here as well as the defense finally has their come-to-Jesus moment and picks off Big Ben. Not the cool Big Ben in merry old England, but the less cool, just retire already Big Ben. In the red zone in the first quarter, giving Geno Smith the opportunity to facilitate a scoring drive for a touchdown Seahawks. And lastly, this is the week Jamal Adams is unleashed, and because he decimates BB repeatedly, he gets my hallelujah game ball.
Ooh, copycat.
All right. It says I'm in. Let's go and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Moving on. Andy, Team Posse. I predict Carson plays and gets 2 touchdowns. Well, that's not going to look very well for him. We beat Pittsburgh 24-14. Game ball to Carson. Again, that's not going to work out for you very well, Andy. Matt.
Hello.
What do you got for us, Matt?
So yeah, this is an interesting one because I was like, well, part of me thinks it's going to be really low scoring, and then the other half of my brain sort of clicks in and says, actually, it's not going to be that high, because if it is low scoring, we're probably going to lose. So it has to be high scoring. So I'm going to go, not that high scoring. So I'm going to go for Seahawks 24 and the Steelers 21. So I'm still going to go for a win for us. I think defense have got to get their ass together. I think it's going to be. Let's give it to Bobby Wagner. Let's give the game ball to Wagner.
Good.
And because it's a late game, and because I should be snoring my pretty little head off somewhere, I will go with the game goes into overtime. That will be my prognostication. It will be an overtime game.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
Nice. Ooh, all right.
Because I won't care about that because I'll be asleep, and then I'll catch up in the morning. It'd be great.
Right.
Yeah.
Well done. Well, it's my turn. Seahawks come off a week that had more highs and lows than the Las Vegas Raider fan this year.
Ooh.
They started bad against the 49ers and then finished strong. They started strong against the Rams and finished bad. So combined, they played a really good game and a really crappy one. You just have to rearrange them a little bit. They just didn't do it in the same game. But that's in the past. And like a defensive back who gives up a big play, we have short memories and move on to this week's primetime matchup in the land of ketchup and 57 sauce. The Steelers have a rich, deep history of great football teams, of course, from the Steel Curtain era of the 70s to the not so well officiated era of the early 2000s. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How could I possibly talk about a Steelers-Seahawks matchup without bringing up Super Bowl XL and scandal that all the Seahawks fans makes Watergate looks like an episode of ridiculousness? Well, it was ridiculousness, all right. I mean, there were multiple questionable calls in the field, enough off the field, odd coincidences to make Oliver Stone jealous. But there were a lot of shaky and questionable practices in that game, but the Seahawks lost, in my opinion, the Super Bowl XL on 3 big plays that resulted in the Steelers playing against our third string safety. So let's give it a rest, all right? It was a long time ago. We're moving on. Let's give it a rest. However, no rest for you, Bill Levy, Sunday night on the sidelines. There's no Bill Levy for Steelers on the sidelines, and no key to the city to pass out to anybody before the game either, Jerome Bettis. Watch the Seahawks take revenge for that Super Bowl that happened 15 years ago. Crap, I'm old. Anyway, do we really need revenge for a game played 15 years ago? Yes!
Yes!
Yes, we do! Watch my game ball DK Metcalf get not 1, but 2 touchdown catches. Watch the defense knock Big Ben around like a fathead he is. Oh, Pittsburgh. Your hinds are going to be bruised Sunday night as our Seahawks win by a score of Seattle Seahawks 24, Steelers 20. Book it. If you can understand anything I'm saying. All right.
Yes.
I'm glad you can understand it, because
You see my hat?
I've had some serious. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Sal hat. Mine's right here somewhere.
how did you get that?
Bruce gave it to me. Paint
Nice.
the talk.
Wow.
Awesome. Unfortunately, gentlemen, it is time to put the rest of another 12-man Fan Jam show. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a wonderful, amazing show. I cannot thank Mike Pascale enough for joining us. Game Buzz Comics. Look him up, hype him up, spread him around. Let's get this guy on the Seattle Times on Sundays, please. Let's get Game Buzz Comics on Sundays, please.
All right.
Mike, it's been a pleasure. Matt, always a pleasure. To our Shadowhawk Will, wherever he is. Statsman Mark Dustin is a Beaver, wherever he is. Roger Goodell. Mozette, Little Mo, Jimmy, Chris, Jose, Carey, Mark, Ty, Turner, Andy Northern Hawk, Kona, April, Abby, Mean Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Cordell Stewart. This is your self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church Seahawk Positivity.
Positivity? Positivity.
Positivity.
St. Alan Church of Seahawk Positivity, saying until next time, go Hawks.
Go
Go
Hawks.
Hawks.
Yes.
I have got to stop drinking heavily before the show.
Positivity?
Positivity.
I don't drink at all.
Positivity.
Yeah,
Let's get
I
some
don't drink.
positivity on
But
here.
if I
Yes.
did, this would be an
Positivities.
I don't
We
have
don't
to
like
drink.
We better get John Gruden on with positivity.
No. The thing is, I don't have to drink to sound this stupid. I just